What?
They're already done over there?
Yeah, they're
Low
just
button?
they're giving each other
Guys, I
feedback.
feel
They
left out
just
right now.
finished.
Do you want to be your team?
I think you're pushing the big button again, Amy. Oh, you got it.
Well,
Okay,
we
it's
were
recording.
doing
If you can't wait, you are gonna fade away.
was like,
You're so tiny.
You should saw me on Saturday. We enjoy tacos. Don't you worry about it.
Good.
She eats. I watch.
I do.
Okay.
Goal. Are you ready? What's your goal?
Oh, my goal is not to cry at the end of class. No. My
It's a
goal
bad goal.
it's really to be ASL structured because I've been transliterating the heck out of the semester.
Okay.
So
ASL, ASL, ASL. Shut the mouth off.
Shut it off.
Shut it
All
off.
right. So apparently, I just learned this tonight, but ever since we started doing these in-class lectures, I have become labeled as the person who talks about politics. So I apologize if some of you don't find this very interesting. I used to not be very interested in politics myself, but my fiance absolutely loved politics. He would sit down and watch debates all day if he could. So a lot of times when I was visiting him in his dorm, he would sit and watch presidential debates last year. So he got me interested in it, so I decided to talk a little bit about it today. Most of you may know that last week was the first of the presidential debates between President Obama and Governor Mitt Romney. And the debate took place in Denver, Colorado. I was really interested to see how the debate would go. There was a lot of people talking about what they thought the outcomes would be. So I was interested to see how everything would come out. After the debate was finished, critics said that Mitt Romney came out as the winner for this particular debate. They said that President Obama seemed a little bit rusty in his debate skills. It's been 4 years since he had to do it, so he was getting back into the game. So critics do say that Romney won it, but so we'll see what happens as the presidential debates go on. I did want to just give a little bit of background info for each candidate so that you can kind of see where each candidate's coming from, and then I'll just summarize the debate. It was very lengthy. There was a lot of back and forth and interrupting, so I won't go into lengthy detail, but I'll summarize it for you guys. First of all, President Obama. He is our 44th president.
I'm sorry, what president?
President Obama
Was that what number?
was the 44th president. He attended Harvard Law School, and he was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. During his first term as president, he implemented a lot of new reforms, such as Obamacare, which is his health care reform. He's, of course, of the Democratic Party. I think you guys know that. And running against him is the Republican candidate. Mitt Romney was the governor of Massachusetts from 2002 to 2007. Mitt Romney also went to Harvard. He went to both Harvard Business School for his master's and Harvard Law School. And that's what's I find interesting about Mitt Romney is he has a very strong business background. So I found the debate involving the economy and taxes really interesting between the two of them to see the president's perspective and the perspective of a strong businessman. I thought the debates were very heated, very back and forth. So it was really interesting to see those two different perspectives come together. Again, the debate lasted about 90 minutes. Well, it was supposed to last about 90 minutes, but it went much longer because each candidate went way over their time limit because they kept trying to one-up each other. It was so interesting to watch. I found it so entertaining. Maybe I'm a nerd, but I love it. I thought it was so cool. The debate was broken into 5 different parts. The first 3 parts involved the economy. The 3 parts were the economy and jobs, the economy and the budget deficit, and then the economy in general. The presidents discussed how they would create new jobs to get our economy out of the current financial crisis that we're in. They talked a lot about taxes, how they would decrease or increase taxes to solve the debt problem. And Obamacare was heavily involved in this portion as well, since it directly involves the American people and cost to taxpayers. So the first 3 portions involve the economy, and then the last 3 portions involved healthcare, which again touched back on Obamacare. Also the role of government, and then governing in general, how the president would lead our country in the next 4 years, and how they would serve the people of America. One thing that I found particularly interesting was the role of government. I think both candidates had really interesting answers. They both agreed that it's really important for the government to support better schools and improving the school system in America. Both candidates are very focused on our generation and the younger generation, because they're going to grow up to be future voters and everything. So it's very important to focus on having good schools. We've all seen what's been going on with Chicago public schools, and the school system can just be a really sticky mess sometimes. But both candidates seem really devoted to improving the school system and making sure that the kids in our country have the education that they need for success. However, explaining more the role of government, each candidate took a slightly different approach once it ended with education. Obama emphasized the importance of defense, keeping America a strong military country, keeping Americans safe, making sure that we don't see war on American soil, protecting the people. Whereas Romney emphasized more protecting the rights of people, not just the physical personhood of people, but the people's rights as American citizens, such as life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Although there was a lot of disagreements overlapping going on during the debate, there were a few jokes made back and forth between the candidates. Mitt Romney's been getting a little bit of grief from critics because at one point during the debate he mentioned that he would cut funding for PBS, and he mentioned that although he likes Big Bird as much as the average Joe, he would cut funding for PBS. So now everyone's going around and kind of teasing Mitt Romney for this Big Bird comment, which I think is kind of funny. And I thought it was also funny, at one point Mitt Romney referred to the term Obamacare, which really isn't the formal title of what it is, but everyone's kind of started calling it Obamacare. And Mitt Romney kind of laughed and said, Obamacare, and he said like the official name, and President Obama kind of chuckled and said, no, I've grown fond of that term, I like it. So although there was heated debate going on, the two candidates joked around a little bit with each other and kind of teased each other. So it was really interesting to see the dynamics between the two candidates. A little bit of like a passive aggressiveness. You know, they still want the public to like them, but they want to beat the other candidate at the same time. And then at the end, you know, they come together, they shake hands, and a lot of people commented how interesting it was that the candidates' families came up on stage and they all kind of stood there for quite a while chatting with each other. So that hasn't really happened in the past. They seemed very friendly with each other, stood around chatting like old friends for a long time. So it's interesting to see. There's a very new dynamic between the candidates that hasn't really been seen in the past. They're competing against each other, but at the same time, they're very respectful of each other, which I think is good. I mean, they're not being nasty towards each other, and they're running a fair fight. It's been all about the policies rather than, you know, the candidates' personal lives or things like that. So that is about all I have regarding the debate. There's a couple more debates coming up. There's one on October 16th, and then the last debate is on October 22. So if you all are registered to vote, I think it's very important to not just automatically vote for whichever party you affiliate yourself with, but actually listen to the candidates and their policies and vote according to who you think will lead our country the best.
Okay, Lindsay.
Sorry.
How do we stop
I'm
this?
trying to make it 10 minutes.
Oh, no.
It was over.